Before I really get into this video, I just want to say that I feel really bad for the poor fucks that named their daughter Daenerys. You fucked up. You fucked up bad. Alright, so if you saw the title of this video and you're like, what the fuck is this retard talking about? You know, he's delusional and whatever. I just want to let you know that when you watched the previous episode, if you felt that Daenerys' like turn to the dark side was rushed and out of nowhere, I understand that because I was with you. When I first watched the episode, I hated it. And if you go back and you watch my previous video, you'll see that I pretty much ranted about it and I didn't like it. I thought it was very dumb and very rushed. Which I still feel that it's very rushed. I mean, this entire fucking season is very rushed. But ever since I watched it, I couldn't stop thinking about it, and I was starting to look back to some of the previous shit that happened, and I really started to think about like what she did and why she did it. And the more I thought about it, the more it made sense to me. Now, I'm not just talking about the fact that it makes sense for her to go mad, which it does, and I will get into it first, but it's not just that. It's also that like what she did was the most logical thing she could have done. Now, that might sound very weird, and you're probably thinking, what the fuck is this retard talking about? Like, you're probably wondering, am I retarded? You're probably like, is this guy retarded? And the answer is yes, I'm very retarded, but that has nothing to do with this video. And I will get into that later, and I will carefully explain it. So before you, like, you know, dislike this video and leave, I want you to listen to this entire video, and maybe you will get what I'm saying and we will be on the same page. And maybe you won't hate this episode as much as you do now. Now, before I start, let me get out of the way. Yes, this episode is rushed. Yes, this entire season is rushed. Yes, they went overboard with the massacre. It shouldn't have gone that far. And they should have like dedicated more time to, you know, for us to see like her really, you know, go insane. But okay, let me start with the whole insanity thing. Now, I think that like we can all agree that it does make sense for her to go, you know, just a little bit cuckoo. Maybe burn and massacre an entire like capital city, which she's supposed to rule one day. Not that much, like that's overboard, but we can agree that she had enough reasons to go a bit cuckoo, because like if we look back, we can see that she had plenty of times where she showed that she kind of has a lot of anger management issues, and that she has kind of problem controlling those darker impulses, you know, inside her. And you can't say that, you know, all the other times that she like did something fucked up, it was towards something good, and it like had some explanation, it had some meaning, and it had some reason, a valid reason, which yes, I do agree. Like when she like fucking like strung those slavers, like it does make sense why she did it. Like those assholes deserved it. You know, when she burned Tarleys, it also made sense because, hey, you know, they didn't bend the knee. But yeah, you know, you could say that every single time she like snapped and did something bad, it was for a reason. However, in this season, she lost more than she did throughout the entire show. Basically, throughout the entire show, it has been nothing but her gaining shit. Like, she started with nothing, and then she got, you know, the Dothraki, then she got the dragons, then she got the Unsullied, then she got the love of everyone in Essos. For fuck's sakes, like everyone started loving her, praising her. Like she couldn't walk 5 feet without some slave like fucking sucking her clit because he loved her so much. So, you know, she got used to being praised and loved by everything, and by everyone, and she got used to like gaining shit. Always, like, you know, every single season she would get some new supporters, she would get some new friends, she would get, you know, okay, yeah, she lost Barristan Selmy, but like, you know, that's one loss against like 1,000 things that she gained. Like she, you know, gained everything basically in Essos. So when she came to Westeros, first of all, she expected everyone to love her immediately, which makes sense because, you know, she's used to everyone loving her, and like it's a very different place. Like, you know, Westeros is very different from Essos, different cultures, different people. So when she came and when she saw that nobody like respects her, nobody gives a shit about her, she kind of got pissed a bit, which, you know, once again makes sense. So she, you know, burned everyone that didn't immediately bend the knee, because she failed to understand that there's, you know, the certain process that, like, when a foreigner comes into a certain country and he wants to rule, there's a certain process that they must fulfill. Like, for instance, the Tarleys, they swore an oath to Cersei. Like, they can't just bend the knee, you know, because in Westeros, oaths are very important, and she didn't understand that. So basically, yeah, you know, for the previous season, we saw that she's, you know, not quite, that Westeros isn't quite what she expected. And now in this season, like, she basically lost everyone. Like, in the last season, she fell in love with Jon Snow. After he found out that she's his aunt, like, he basically, like, he still, like, loves her in terms of, like, you know, she's his queen, but he no longer romantically loves her. Her best friend in the fucking world died. 2 of her children died. Some of her most valued advisors fucking betrayed her. And she realized that nobody fucking loves her and respects her here. And that, like, everyone would rather have Jon Snow rule than for her to rule. And, like, all of those things, like, piling up in a pretty short amount of time. Like, you know, throughout all those years, like, for what, 6 years, she gained all of this shit. And then, like, in, like, 2 fucking years, I guess, I think that it's been, or like, it's been less, like, in like the last 2 seasons, like, she fucking lost almost everything, you know, and she lost the most important fucking thing that she had, and that is her claim to the throne. But yeah, so she lost everything really fast, and, like, other characters lost as well, but that combined with her already established violent tendencies, it would make sense for her to go a bit cuckoo, you know, go a little wackadoo. As far as to kill everyone and burn everything, not really, but we can agree that it makes sense for her to go a bit cuckoo. But that leads us to the logical side of her decision. Come along. You're gonna have to take a leap here, so take my hand and let's go on a journey, and let's find out what happened here and why she did what she did. Alright, so basically at the beginning of the season, we learn that, you know, well, actually, it's at the end of the last season, we learned that Jon Snow is a Targaryen and that he has a bigger claim to the throne than her, which she finds out, and she's of course not happy with it. But she begs Jon Snow not to tell anyone, because as long as Jon Snow doesn't tell anyone and nobody knows, she still has a still has a claim to the throne. However, since he decided to tell his sisters, who, you know, then told Tyrion, who then told, like, who then Tyrion told Varys, and at the beginning of this episode, Varys fucking told everyone. Like, he sent those letters to people, and, like, here's the thing, I don't think a lot of people understand just how much influence Varys actually has. Like, I feel like a lot of people forgot about that, because for the last few seasons he didn't really do anything. But Varys has a lot of influence. And he has an influence over a lot of powerful people. And he sent those letters to all of those people. So now, let's say, had Daenerys decided to, you know, once the bells rang, had she decided to, you know, get down from her dragon and to be like, alright, I'm the queen now, sit on the Iron Throne, it won't really go as smoothly as some of you think, because now all of those people that received those letters, that now know Jon's true heritage, and who were convinced by Varys that they want Jon Snow on the throne, now they will start to present a problem, because now they'll come in and they're like, hey, you don't have a claim, he has the claim. And what can she do? Burn them? I don't think she can burn them, because if she burns them, then once again, it's her ruling through fear. And the point is, we don't want her to rule through fear. Like, they would pose a threat both politically and to her life, because, you know, I'm sure that some of those people could very much hire a certain assassin to fucking, like, stab her in the back while she's not expecting it. Like, I know it's not easy to, like, kill a queen, but, like, if she went all diplomatic and, hey, I'm good and I'm, like, fine, some people would take advantage of that and they would fuck her over. Just like the Fate Militia fucked Cersei over in season 5 until she actually showed some showed some backbone and like fucking burned them all alive, and then nobody fucked with her after that. So like she couldn't just go down and be like, hey, I'm Daenerys, because you know, a lot of people would fuck her over because she no longer has a real claim to the throne. Jon Snow has. So it makes sense for her, you know, to inspire a bit of fear. Like, because she was like really in a corner. Like, she didn't know what else to do. She had to inspire some fear, because if she fucks some shit up, if she destroys the Red Keep, kills all the fucking Kingsguard and burns some of the civilians and burns some buildings, no one's gonna go, hey, Jon Snow is the rightful heir. No, they're gonna be like, fuck Jon Snow, you're the queen, we don't wanna fuck with you. So, now, once again, we can agree that she needed to do at least something a bit drastic in order to, you know, get that claim. In order to, you know, really secure her claim, sort of. Still go as far as to burn everything? No. But do something extreme? Yes. However, now if we combine both of those things, like both her going a bit cuckoo and plus having no other way out, and that being the only logical thing to do, now when we combine both of those things, we can sort of understand why she did what she did. And it sort of makes sense. It's still debatable whether they should have gone that far, but it actually kind of, like, at least to me, makes a lot of sense. Now, am I saying that Dan and Dave are like genius writers who like write best television and who are the reason that Game of Thrones was ever good? No. Those two are fucking retards, and they should never be allowed to write everything. And not for a second do I believe that any of what I just said was their idea. It was probably all Martin, and they actually, I do agree with a lot of people that they fucked it up by like fucking rushing it so much that, like, even though, yeah, there was a lot of things that make sense, and like what I just said, I didn't pull out of my hat. I actually, like, these are all the things that are established in the show, but since they're such poor writers, they failed to really get that across. I really do wish that they spent more time developing that, but it's not out of nowhere. And I hope a lot of people now understand that it's not out of nowhere, and people who say that it's out of nowhere, I just don't think they're right. Even though, like 2 days ago when I watched the episode, I myself said that it was kind of out of nowhere. Another thing that I really like is the way that this whole storyline was set up. It was actually done in a very good way, because it was not just Dany's decision, it was a collective of like multiple characters' decision that led to this point. And it all started when Bran told Sam, you know, the truth about Jon Snow. And then after, you know, Sam found out that Daenerys killed, you know, his father and his brother, because of that, he told Jon Snow, who therefore told Daenerys, who therefore begged him not to tell anyone else, but Jon Snow, being Jon Snow, decided to tell Sansa and Arya, therefore Sansa told Tyrion, therefore Tyrion told Varys, and therefore Varys told everyone, and that whole thing led to Daenerys fucking losing it. Which once again brings back the point, no, this was not out of nowhere. It was like developed enough to the point where it makes sense. But I do agree that they should still like dedicated more time to her going insane. But it overall makes sense when you think about it. Now, do I think that this season is rushed? Yes. Do I think that this season has a lot of problems? Absolutely. Do I think that Dan and Dave are horrible writers? Yes, abso-fucking-lutely. Do I want to grab their fucking heads and squeeze them so hard that their fucking eyes pop off? Yeah. But this episode wasn't as bad as everyone says it is, and Daenerys' turn makes sense. So yeah, that's it. Fuck you.